What's up guys, Jared on an island here, back again with another video, and today I'm going to be going over a couple more topics that are just something that I need to throw in there. I need to throw in that third perspective, So here we go. First one, it's going to be diet. And people are always talking about this argument of carnivore versus keto versus raw meat versus peating. And I just want to say one thing that, just to throw a wrench into the whole discussion, because people don't really consider this at all when they talk about, oh, what is the natural human diet? I personally am on the stance that, you know what, you should look at your genetic lineage and see what your ancestors were eating. But when you get to the end result of what you were eating, there's one thing that people don't want to consider. And they don't want to consider this because it's depressing. It's a reality of a world in which you no longer have access to and you will never have access to. And the fact is that most of the human diet was the term megafauna, which means giant animals. Okay? After the mini ice age, or even the first ice age that occurred, the amount of large animals that existed throughout the earth subtracted something like 80 to 90%. Uh, Here's a good example that many people don't even think of when they think about Native Americans. When Native Americans first got to America, we all know the story of the bison because bison are still around. They're not fully extinct yet. But do you know how many more other animals there were that were massive megafauna, which means large animals that existed in North America? I'm not going to tell you here because I think you should do the research on your own and then come to your own conclusions about what I have to say, my opinion. But essentially, most of the diet that occurred was that. And even then, let's imagine a world where that didn't happen and it was just the bison, of which there was millions upon millions more bison just roaming around everywhere, where the natives could travel with herds or stumble across herds at any point of any time to where it supported their diet. This was the same thing for all ancient human tribes, for them to get food at all. So that's the true diet right there. To me it seems pretty obvious after you consider that, but because it's not around, because there's no relative living proof to people, nobody wants this. Nobody they don't I'm not going to say they don't want to, but they don't come to that conclusion easily. We're so worried about, oh, fruit and, cow meat, that we forget that there was this whole range of food that doesn't even exist. And even when it comes to fruit, of which, I am peaty, as they say. I try to be as peaty as possible for as much work as I, try to put into it. But the fruit that you eat today, people know it's genetically modified. People know it's not the same. But compared to what you had 1,000 or 2,000 years ago minimum, can you imagine what fruit there was like in literal ancient times, like pre-civilization times, with literally no, like, this is literally pure natural cycle of animals eating the fruit, jungles being created, certain biomes where things are literally thriving. Like, there's this idea that was going around in 2020 and 2021 where it was just this like philosophy of how evolution occurs between places that aren't near the equator and places that are closer to the equator. If you look close to the equator, there's a lot more diversity in terms of animal life, human life, um, you know, extremes of nature. And then the further you get from the equator, there's, the same relative normalness of tundras where the icy snow-like conditions cause a massive lack of diversity. And it's just an interesting sort of thing to combine with this idea of, okay, what was the natural ancient human that of course lived at least somewhere relatively close to the equator at first, eating? And when it comes to fruit, when it comes to edible plants and such things like that, the diversity, we can only imagine how much more different stuff there was. Um, and you know, an interesting thing for you to look at, another thing for you to look at is this new idea that the Garden of Eden, the first original, you know, heartland of humanity was in the Strait of Hormuz. That's an interesting thing. I'm not going to say if I agree with that or not. Honestly, I have no clue, but it's interesting to look at. Of course, as you know, I'm from Atlantis, and I can't disclose where that was, but these places where civilization, or not civilization, I'm gonna say where human tribes were able to thrive at an accelerated rate, just because of the ease of the environment, definitely existed. Even for Native Americans, food wasn't hard to get. Like hunting, and Godus talks about this, hunting was never hard for humans. Hunting was never hard, even if you were a singular person, which a lot of people would disagree with because they say, oh, well, yeah, it was never hard. You and your whole team went to go take down a mammoth, and the mammoth lasts you months, if not years, of food. Well, even as a singular person, you don't, like, here's the idea. There's this video of this guy sprinting in the woods, and he's like, "Oh, I'm training to hunt. Like, I'm bringing back that primal sense of hunting." And Godus was laughing at it, saying, "Oh, you don't sprint for food. Um, like you don't sprint constantly." And I've said this too, where it's like, okay, yeah, predators don't run, they chase. And when you're chasing after something, you don't run, you don't need to run full force. If you run, like, that's why they say, like, you can run, but eventually the predator catches up. And it running from something is stressful. It's a prey like submissive thing. You're literally afraid. You're spiking your cortisol by sprinting away from something. If you're chasing something, there's a satisfaction in catching it and getting close to catching it. So it's a little different. It's a little different. But yeah, so this idea of diets existing today that are natural, in a way, it's just a convoluted, messed up idea. Like it's not the same as what people are discussing, especially when they say natural human diet. We are so artificial. We may not ever have access to that again. We'll have to use our artificial science to replicate or allow for nature to come back at an accelerated rate, but we'll have to like pray to God that we do it the right way, or we don't mess it up, or we at least get relatively close to what we did have. But in reality, yeah, it, try not to get too black pilled, but we'll probably never get to experience that, and it might be over in that regard. But this brings me to my next idea of stuff that people just don't consider. And this is from one of my good online friends, Crucial, one of his videos. Go check him out. His YouTube is youtube.com/crucial with 3 L's, 4 L's. I don't know. It'll pop up if you look that up, though. And he's got amazing content. But he brought up an idea in a video about people who, what is it called? Like prepare for zombie apocalypses, or like, you know, nuclear disasters, stuff like that. Preppers, that's what it is. And preppers have this idea of like stocking everything up. And he basically talked about, okay, well, you know what? Even if you're a prepper, you're preparing for all this stuff, but you don't want to fight the guy that has nothing to lose after the apocalypse. People aren't ready for that. And I want to expand on that idea in my own opinion, where it's like, okay, you know what? People don't understand this about the apocalypse. People think, oh, it's going to be like The Walking Dead. Crucial talked about The Walking Dead. It's like, okay, The Walking Dead, people still had humanity left. That was the whole thing, at least for a couple episodes where it's like Rick Grimes has his humanity. He's the good guy, but then he has to make hard choices. The hard choices in the show were nothing compared to what would happen in real life. In real life, and I've mentioned something like this before, but if you seriously want to live in the zombie apocalypse, you have to be prepared to just kill everyone around you, like literally everyone. Like no regard, no morality will exist. And people don't understand that. You think that you'll be able, oh, hey, brother, I'm a survivor over here too. We can both team up and do so. No, people will kill you and probably eat you. They will do things that you haven't even considered at, as a discussion for morality to save themselves or just to have power in the situation that they're in. The environment is at such a point of collapse, of such a point of non restricted survival. We will do things that you haven't even thought of in terms of just disgusting, immoral, not okay stuff. I know there's been a couple movies where they try to get to that point, but in reality, like, have you ever seen videos of like crocodiles eating small dogs for no absolute reason, or like animals fighting each other just because they happen to be around each other? That is how people will operate. People will operate to a degree of destruction that anyone who is trying to rationally think about survival today is setting themselves up for complete failure. I think this is because their main concern, the first concern, is what they see in front of them, which would be like the government or something. They think, oh, if I'm in my bunker, we don't know what's going up on top, and either the government will, clean stuff up for us, and then it will be safe to get out, or the government will try to find us, and we're hiding from them. And it's like, they don't want to arrest you or, uh, you know, make you follow their rules. They will literally just they will literally just set your bunker on fire, and then you'll either die from being on fire or losing oxygen and, like completely, or the pressure change, and your whole family will die in there. Like, it's not going to be the way you think of the shows. It's going to be a lot worse if that was to happen. And even then, uh, you know, again, this is me forgetting the idea because we like to play these little fantasy things. But in reality, the worst scenario is that not happening, and then your whole life being a slow, painful collapse of society where everyone pretends you're extremely happy and everything's going well, when in reality, you have nothing that anyone has ever had to live through before, but then you're surrounded by pretty things and nice words. Sound kind of familiar? Yeah, so you have to really ask yourself, okay, is apocalypse really that bad, considering the alternative of the Black Mirror box? I don't know what you want to call it. That's like a normie sort of thing, but the dopamine box in Black Mirror. Which one would you rather have, zombie apocalypse or Black Mirror dopamine box? Well, let's see. Uh, Zombies have free range of moving wherever they want. You, on the other hand, don't even have the freedom of unrestricted movement, and you have to act gay. Like I don't know which one's actually worse. Maybe I want to be a zombie. Like at least I'll know I'm a zombie. While if you're an NPC, you kind of are conscious. What is it called? Consciously lied to about it. What is the word here? Um, Conscious captive. Uh, you know what I'm talking about. Like when somebody is, it's on the tip of my tongue. Whatever. You guys can say in the comments. You guys know what I mean. You guys are smart. So yeah, the next thing I want to talk about, third topic, and then this will be it, is plastic surgery. And I've been over this before, and this kind of goes into the whole dopamine box thing a little bit, but plastic surgery, we are so removed from nature. We are so far away that my discussions aren't even really about returning to nature anymore. It's just about the implication of what happens and how God sees our depravity from being removed from nature. Plastic surgery, this doesn't even make sense to me. Even if, okay, let's go through, let's get the outsides first and then work our way inwards. Okay, if you had a medical problem where you survived for whatever reason, and that's a whole other topic. Do you really want to survive if, your whole body's burned and you literally have no limbs and your face is all messed up or whatever? Okay, whatever. Plastic surgery, fixing your face so that you look somewhat normal. Sure, that makes sense to me. Okay? Beauty products, whatever else makes sense. There's a line though. If you are looking different, like if someone was to look at you and wasn't able to tell that you were the same person because of plastic surgery, you are an abomination. Like literally, you are an abomination. Uh, Especially if it's purely cosmetic, especially if it's for your own looks. And honestly, it's for your own insecurities. I've said this before and I kind of want to reiterate it. If you get plastic surgery and then you decide to have a kid, or you have a kid and that kid has the same thing that you got plastic surgery for, how are you supposed to explain to that kid why they shouldn't feel insecure? Because, and this is what goes through my head. Okay, I imagine a woman and she has nose job, let's say lip filler, and then she got a facelift. Okay, and her 10-year-old daughter has the same nose as her, which we'll assume, because in this day and age, for some reason, beauty standards say like, oh, you have to have a, well, honestly, no one's saying this, but women decide that they want a small nose when they get or a nose job, right? So the daughter comes and says, like, why should I not look in the mirror and be humiliated at what I see when you couldn't even, like, when my own parent couldn't even deal with it and had to get it changed? So what would the parent say to the kid in that scenario? What, like, to justify it? Oh, well, when you grow up, we'll get you the nose job too. Oh, we'll get you a nose job right now, even though you're still growing, and then it's going to be even more messed up because that's not how your body doesn't know if you got a nose job or cosmetic surgery. So the kid is messed up. It's just messed up. Either they look messed up, which why would we even do that to the kid? Or they're completely insecure until they get to the age, or they realize that their parent is insecure and then they no longer view them in the same light. We have to not allow for, if we're going to be an individualistic society, right? We can't allow for things that tear us down as individuals to become monetized or fixable. So like our looks, you know, we if we believe in a society, we have to push, like if we believe in a society that believes in individualism and that every person is great in their own regard, we can't allow for things that tear that idea down to exist, like plastic surgery. We have to say, you know what, like there are people there are people who aren't conventionally attractive for whatever reason, but that doesn't make them worse people. We have to fight lookism. And while that may never be able to be achieved because of nature, and nature does prove lookism, you have to fight that for society if you're believing in a structure where people are great for who they are. And the majority of time, at least in today's age, the reverse is happening, where people who aren't not attractive, where they are semi-attractive or not bad, are being bought into the fact that they aren't perfect, and then they have to go get plastic surgery, or they feel the need to get it because of the monetization of insecurity. So we can't support that. We can't support that. It would be in our best interest as a whole for society to not support that. yeah, because we have to value other things more importantly than looks. We do that subconsciously already. That's as far as it needs to go, is the point. If you say, well, we do, so what we have to like let it be. Okay, we do it subconsciously. Consciously, we don't even have to fight it. We just have to not push it harder than what it is subconsciously, if you really want to go that far. And I recommend you go and drive around, look at the plastic surgery places around you. Go look at the type of person who is a plastic surgeon, okay? And I want you to ask yourself like, does this seem like a good person? Just go check. Just go check, okay? And go see how they're adding value to society. Really think it through if you don't agree with me. And think about the people who get plastic surgery. Are they only getting it once? Most of the time, not really. So there's some ideas of things that, are kind of just wrenches into general conversation. I don't see people really talking about it. Just wanted to see what maybe y'all's thoughts were. Make sure to like and sub, of course. And yeah, let me know if you've been having any weird ideas that are just completely not being talked about. I just want to, keep throwing ideas into the, you know, realm of what we call, I don't even know, the internet's timeline or something. It's just too repetitive. People need to start just throwing random stuff. I'm tired of spaces becoming dead. Like it all becomes dead. Communities are dead. We need to revive this by creative thoughts. So, all right, like and subscribe. Peace.